All right, so the plastic invasion of crypto is upon us, and today we're going to dive into where is the landscape of debit cards in relationship to utilizing crypto and maybe all of your crypto accounts. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back here to TechPath. Let's dive into this because there's a lot have been happening over the past few months, whether you look at Visa and what they've been doing in the space to be able to implement debit card usage across a lot of these different trading platforms, including some of the exchanges that we've had here on the show, whether it's Celsius, Nexo, Voyager, BlockFi, all of these different platforms, including Gemini and many others. Now you've got all these different cards kind of surfacing, but the point is that it's been a little bit slow coming on some of the platforms, but yet at the same time, I think we're about to see a big move in terms of speed to market, and also the players that are really kind of changing the game here. I want to jump to this press release out by Mastercard today, which is really kind of the key here, because this kind of rolls into where is debit. And remember, debit is going to have a lot of influence onto credit card applications, which will mean rewards, things of that nature. Remember, debit is where the mass adoption occurs in the banked, meaning the banked population. But if you look at their groups of partners here, Circle, Paxos, Evolve Bank and Trust, Metropolitan Commercial Bank, Uphold, BitPay, quite a few here in terms of recognized names in the space. And basically what MasterCard announced was it's enhancing its card program for cryptocurrency wallets, exchanges, making it simpler for partners to basically convert crypto to traditional fiat currency. And then they're working with Evolve and Paxos to essentially come in and look at which is the stablecoin issuance platform, and then Circle on all of this as well. So all of this starts to tie together to essentially enable more banks and companies to offer a card option to people who are wanting their spend their digital assets. So if let's say you're taking profits off, you drop into USDC on Circle, and you want to be able to use that as your debit account in lieu of your own bank account, that's where I think this service is really going to play into the future. And when you look at some of their strategies, back to what their EVP basically said, their digital asset and blockchain products and partnerships over at MasterCard, he's saying not all crypto companies have the foundational infrastructure to convert this. So this is where they kind of play into the game. And I think that's going to be a big factor. To show the different, or I should say, to show the landscape of where debit cards are around the world, I want you to look at the numbers here that are coming in from Europe. So this was a piece done by Cointelegraph here not too long ago on countries where crypto debit cards are fair game, where they're really starting to move. And I want you to look at some of the programs that are out there. I'll just highlight this one a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm looking at here. Revolut, this one of course is in the EU. This is a prepaid card. Monolith, also a prepaid card, and Wirex, a prepaid card type. Here's one funded by Coinbase and Coinbase Balance. This is the Coinbase card, and then Bitwala, also a prepaid. So you can kind of see the movement and the action that's happening over in Europe. And if you look at where these companies are going, this is a huge shift in the banking system architecture, especially with a lot of these companies, because essentially these are these new companies that have kind of burst onto the scene to essentially start to provide these kinds of card services to a variety of different solutions around your cryptocurrency wallets and around your cryptocurrency investments. So I think a lot of people are looking at kind of this, I won't use the phrase too much, but unbank yourself is like the slogan for Celsius. And what Alex talks about over there is that we are seeing this movement. And the key thing here to shift into utilizing your crypto accounts and your crypto investments, your crypto wallets in everyday transactions is going to be a huge marketplace. There's going to be an absolute barn burner, and it's also going to start to separate the crowd in terms of the platforms that are offering the best deals. That's where it gets into an interesting scenario where we start to look at the evolution of debit card to rewards-based credit cards. And that's where it's going to get interesting. I know BlockFi has released their rewards-based credit card, which has some great, benefits and some values. The key there, I think we'll start to see a lot of these other companies that are rolling out the debit cards to go along with the credit cards that will enable all of this to essentially do one thing, and that is replace your bank. That's the big play right here, is that you have Visa, Mastercard, and many other players starting to move into this space, especially in Europe, that have started to figure out a model in which they could potentially replace your need for everyday banking. The key here, and I talk about it all the time on the show, is that with CBDCs, with the evolution of what we're going to see in fiat disappearance, the aspect of utilizing debit and credit application cards like this in crypto wallets and crypto accounts are just absolutely going to be the way of the future. I think it'll be less and less of your traditional bank sending you a credit card in the mail saying, hey, here's an 18% credit card. We're already starting to see deals flow out. I just saw a deal from Wells Fargo come out with an 18-month free interest program. So that tells me that a lot of these banks are starting to get a little bit desperate in the essence of where this market is moving, because all you need is critical mass adoption on the debit card side for all of the crypto holders and crypto investors. Because remember, we are close to seeing critical mass in the crypto universe, meaning once we get past this reserved price point of Bitcoin and we do see the explosion, we're going to see a massive movement of new investors in this finalization of the bull run. And I think that's where you're going to see a lot of adoption into these things like debit cards and rewards-based credit cards. So this will be interesting to kind of flow along. I want to jump just to this last piece here. Mastercard's latest partnership to help banks distribute crypto cards. Okay, so now they're even going into the bank level itself. So basically what they're saying is the effort involves Mastercard partnering with crypto businesses to involve wallets and exchanges, simpler partners, much like their press release, but moving into having these banks actually, or assist these banks in actually distributing these debit cards in these potential rollout of kind of this new model for consumers and how they're potentially utilizing debit cards in the future. And I think that's going to be the key with how credit and debit, because this is where it's going to draw the line on a lot of these platforms, whether you're looking at yield platforms like a Celsius or a Nexo for loans, or you're looking over at Voyager where you're looking at trading and you need yield as well. All of those kinds of variations are getting very competitive, not only with each other. I just saw Nexo running in at like a 12% if you held Nexo, a 12% on USD, which was surprising considering the fight that I shouldn't say fight, but the competition we're seeing with Voyager and Celsius on those yields. So I think all of this starts to play into this debit card being a big factor, and the platforms that really kind of roll these things out, I think, are the ones going to be winning pretty quickly too. In many cases, Gemini will start to see playing into this. BlockFi, I think, is going to come into this, even though I don't necessarily recommend BlockFi for you guys if you're looking at yields, because they've dropped their rates twice now, which I've been a BlockFi user, actually exited. One thing I also had, just to knock on BlockFi here a little bit, is the speed in which you could transfer crypto assets. It was much slower than I anticipated. 3 to 5 days just to move wallet to wallet on BlockFi, which I thought was absolutely unacceptable under the conditions and where we're going. So the point here is debit cards are on the move in crypto. I think now I'd love to hear your comments below on whether or not you're going to look at maybe shifting your bank processes, your whole way of spending money over to these platforms where you're using crypto debit and crypto credit card based rewards. Love to hear your feedback and input. If you guys want to reach me, hit me up on Twitter. It's just @PaulBaron. I'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.